I want you to remember that God's created everything you see. He breathed it into existence. You remember when his people were caught up in slavery? He rescued them. What he did was he parted the sea and he made a way for them, and then he delivered their enemies to them, and he unlocks wombs, and he provides water from a rock, and he provides manna from heaven, and he brought down the walls of Jericho. He froze the sun, allowing victory. He's toppled giants with tiny stones. He's brought fire from heaven. He shut the mouths of lions. He preserved life in the belly of a well. He's fed thousands with a few loaves. He gives the weak strength. He heals the sick. He's made the blind see, the deaf hear, the mute speak, the lame walk, and he's overcome evil, and he's made a way through death for you and me by the death and the resurrection of his Son, Jesus Christ, that we will live with him forever. We will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever and ever and ever. What are we afraid of? His resume is flawless. He controls everything. And he loves you.
Well, good morning, everybody. Forgive me as I wanted to. I want to be able to see what my notes are, so I'm trying to log back in here. I'm going to press pause on our series for this week. You can pass those. The video maybe gave some people some time to get it done. If you were following along online and you were trying to give there's probably a give button someplace on the screen that you're watching on, so you can go ahead and click that. We were in this series called Lent, and I had this, we were in, my wife and I were, and our kids were in Hawaii this last week, and as we were there, it was kind of interesting to see that there was virtually no panic in Hawaii. The grocery stores had plenty of stuff. Like you walked into Walmart, and like I walked into Walmart here yesterday, and the produce department was empty. The meat department, there was not it didn't matter if you wanted the 93% beef with 7% fat, or if you wanted that 75 and 25, it was empty. There's nothing there. And so, I worked for Walmart years ago, and so I asked one of the managers, I said, does the DC look like this as well? And they're like, no, we're just having issues getting it here. It's not that we're out of stock of it. It's that it's snowing, and we're having problems getting it over the pass, and we're having issues getting it down here. And I go, and so for me, we have kind of worked ourselves into a little bit of a frenzy. We've worked ourselves into a little bit of panic. We've gotten, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't be a little worried, okay, because I'm not a health official, but I think that we've kind of gotten a little bit out of this. So I wanted to put pause, and I wanted to press pause a little bit on Lent. We'll get back into that next week. Well, it depends on what happens this week, and I want to speak mostly from my heart. It's kind of what I want to go. I did write this down, but and unless you've been sleeping under a rock, I mean, some of you guys out there have been, some of you online that haven't been outside in months, you've been sleeping under a rock. This coronavirus or COVID-19 is spreading, right? It's going around, it's getting to different places. And our stock market is dropping, right? You got some people a little nervous about that. The stock market is going, it's up at 29,000, it's down at 22,000, it's back up to 25,000. It's just kind of crazy, right? It's just kind of bouncing around. And people are panicking. And we kind of see this. We see people are panicking. On our flight to Hawaii, everything was very familial, right? Ohana is what they call it, right? Everybody was, hey, welcome aboard. On our flight home, They all had gloves on and masks, and it was like, wait a minute, what happened here? Did something transpire over the 5 days that we were here that we didn't know about? Like, they did an amazing job in Hawaii of just keeping it completely quiet. You never see it on the news or anything. But I guess it comes to the question, for us, with people panicking, what should we do? How are we supposed to respond? Bible, and I know what it says, and I know where we end up at. And so for this, I can tell you right now, it does not say this is how we go. And so when you read this, and so I want you to think about this a little bit. I'll bring you to today a little bit. Have you noticed that every professional sports event has been canceled? They're all done. Conferences, concerts, they're all canceling. Everything around us. Schools are shutting down. Some schools, I read an article this morning that some schools have said, 2 weeks isn't enough. We're going to go out 5 months. So there's schools right now that are not planning on coming back to school until next September. They're not planning on coming back until next September. They're like, nope, you know what? We're just going to do everything online. We're going to make sure our schools are clean. Everything's put back together, and that's it. Travel bans are now, they're everywhere. I got an email that says that you can't get into certain countries now, that you can't go certain countries can't come here, and it's just getting more and more. And grocery stores are out of toilet paper. Every grocery store in the area, there is none. Not anything. In fact, they caused a riot at Costco yesterday. Like, oh, we got to do this, and we got to do that, and we got to, I'm going to share a story because my wife's going to hate this too, by the way. So we were having breakfast. The last day we were in Hawaii, so we're at Hard Rock Cafe. And we're sitting there, and I'm not gonna give all the details, but we're sitting there, and so this. By the way, this is Friday morning, so it's only 2 days ago. And so I'm a news junkie, right? So I've been reading the news, and I kind of keep her updated. And at the table next to us, right, not even right next to us, 2 tables over. 2 tables over, the guy sneezes. Doesn't cover his mouth. Doesn't try and do an elephant move, doesn't do anything. He just right at the table, like he was looking at everybody and just, like you could see the cloud everywhere. And doesn't say anything, doesn't say, excuse me, and all of a sudden, we have created that spirit of fear upon ourselves. We're the ones that have done this. And really there's this emphasis on not afraid. We should not be afraid. So there's 3 ways that we're not like this world. Number 1, we live by faith, not fear. That we live by faith, not fear. And here's what it says in John 14. It says, do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God. Believe also in me. Who do we believe in? Where are we at? Which direction are we going? What are we doing? Who are we believing in? And so then when you go into to verse 27, so we're just going to jump ahead a few verses here, and it says, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. This is what Jesus comes here and says, do not be afraid. Don't be troubled because of this. Don't be afraid because of this. Don't be afraid. And see, this is where we're living at. We're living in this situation of fear. I love how the NLT, I'm just going to go, so that's the NIV. Let's go to the NLT. Look at how the NLT translates this in 1427. It says, I'm leaving you with a gift. Peace of mind. I'm leaving you with a gift. Peace of mind and heart. And the peace I give is a gift the world cannot give. So do not be troubled or afraid. This is a gift that we're given. We don't have to be afraid. We don't have to be worried. And that's just where we tend to be at. Peace that goes beyond all human understanding. See, God's not sitting in heaven right now going, I didn't see that coming. He's not up there going, I didn't see that. This little thing that happened in Wuhan, China, I didn't see that coming. How did I miss that? It's not where he's at. See, our God is faithful. I can tell you right now, he's up there going, I'm in control. I'm in control. Our God, he's good. And so if somebody sneezed, evacuate. You know, I mean, that's just kind of. Paul said, for God has not given us the spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. We are not panicking. We have peace. So which one is greater? Is our peace greater than the panic, or is the panic greater than the peace? We are not fearful. We have has to be greater than our fear. I've used this story many, many times, right? We're not born with fear. You don't get up and all of a sudden you're afraid, right? You don't come out of the womb and go, everything's fear is a learned habit and climb onto the couch. You can't do that. You're going to get hurt. Or they climb up the outside of the staircase. Michael does this all the time. Michael gets on the outside of the staircase and climbs up the stairs, gets all the way up to the top where he can't, right where the wall starts at that point, and he wants to jump off of that to our couch. And so it's like 7 feet up, something like that, and he wants to jump off of that, and boy, when his mom catches him, it's bad, right? Get down, and she starts yelling at him, and so he gets down, and he cowers down. When I see him doing it, I'm going, what are you doing, buddy? I'm going to jump. Well, have at it. Let's do it. Let's see how this thing plays out. I said, if you get a broken bone, we're going to have to deal with the repercussions of that. And what does he do? He looks at me and jumps. He's like, I'll deal with that then. I'm cool with that. If I got to deal with it later, I got to deal with it later. But right now, and see, we give that spirit of fear. People at school, same thing in school. When people have this fear, they have this fear of not getting an A. Why? Because at some point, so we've been pressured to this mindset of going, you have to get A's, you have to get A's, you have to get A's. And maybe you had a parent that took a belt off one time when you got a B and said, this isn't good enough. It's a spirit of fear. That not being good enough is a spirit of fear for us. And we have to remember is that our fear is not as great as our faith. And we have to have this faith that just overcomes it and go, you know what, it's just, you get what I'm saying. 2 Corinthians 5:7, for we live by faith, not by sight. That's where we're at. So, we live by faith, not by fear. Number 2, we are sacrificial, not selfish. We are sacrificial, not selfish. And so our society, especially, just look at what the grocery stores look like. We have become selfish. 80% of Americans consider and go, God is, I believe in God. The Scripture tells us very clearly, and so Philippians 2, verses 3 and 4, it says, do not be selfish. Do not be selfish. Do not try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. Don't look out only for your own interest, but take an interest in others too. So this is Paul to the believers in Philippi. He's going, don't be selfish. Don't keep trying to store up all these treasures. Don't try and, so toilet paper shows up at Walmart today. Don't go there and go buy 5,000 rolls thinking I'm going to make a profit on eBay. Because that's where our mindset is going to. How can we go grab some? And so for me, my initial reaction was, I'm going to go buy some and just deliver them to our church members. Just get them out there. Just because we got people now that don't have any toilet paper. I'm like, going, we have to fix this. We have to, how are we going to take care of this? The only thing that's in there now is wet wipes. Well, fine, let's go buy some baby wipes or some wet wipes. That's what we got to do. See, during the early church, they faced extreme persecution. That's what they were facing. Look at church today. Churches and people were losing their life for their faith. That's what they were doing. And this time back then, see, the first century Christians didn't hoard their goods. That's what they did. Not hoard their goods. In fact, when you go into it and you go a little deeper in it, they put the others ahead of themselves. They put everybody ahead of themselves. And in fact, Acts 2, verses 44 and 46, we like to use this for giving, right? This is a line that we like to throw out all the time, like, well, they sold all their stuff. They sold everything, and they brought it all together, and they shared it. The reason why they did that is because they were under extreme persecution. They had to, because, and if you happen to be somebody who was a farmer and somebody else was raising cattle, at this time you didn't have a whole lot of money because you were seen as outcasts. So what do you have to do? You have to bring it together and become one community. You have to be all together. And it says all the believers were together and had everything in common. Guess what? We all have everything in common right now. We are believers. We're under persecution. We're all trying to get through this COVID-19 or the coronavirus, and we're trying to get through this together, and we're all struggling. Because some of us are going, I don't have a job tomorrow. If you look at retail, I was reading an article about Disneyland, because Disneyland closed, right? So Disney's going to pay all their employees. They've already come out and said, we're going to take care of our employees. Here's the thing, right outside of Disneyland is a row of hotels called Harbor Boulevard. Harbor Boulevard, one of the hotels that's directly next door to Disneyland is called Candy Cane Inn. They have 155 rooms. People in rooms. Today, 155 rooms, 5 people. What do you think as the manager? Everybody go home. Across the street, there's a Hyatt. Employees had no idea that they were going to be told that you're laid off until 500 rooms. Most of them are empty. They laid off. People are waking up, and it's not like I'm going to work place to place to place. And this is persecution for people. And see, this is why the church has to come together. And we have to look and go, we have to share in one another's burdens, because we're going to have people. The last 3 weeks of our food, so you guys know, we do food distribution every Wednesday. Bigger, and the numbers are getting bigger and bigger. Here's the problem. The food amount is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Food bank doesn't have people working because Costco doesn't have as many people showing up. Or they just wipe out everything. So we have to come together. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in this room, if you're sitting out in our community, if you're wherever you're watching this at. We have to come together as a group of believers, and we have to bring it in, and we have to take this Acts message that nobody had a need. Why? Because somebody else could help them and take care of it. Somebody else could be there for them. Somebody else could help fulfill that need. We need to be looking at this on our Facebook groups and on our Facebook going, how can I help somebody? Instead of spreading this panic and this pandemonium, we should be going, hey, I see that somebody has a need. Does anybody have a need? I got an extra 20 rolls of toilet paper. Have a need? Does somebody need some paper towels? I mean, they suck to wipe with, but it works. But we're not doing that. We're not sharing like that. It says they sold property who has needs. Every day they continue to meet together. That's a big line right there. See, here's the underground Chinese church together. You know why? Still Hebrews 10:25 tells us, because it's not grow and help one another. It says the reason why is because so much more impactful being service together. The worship can be bad, but still everything better is online. To come together, it's not about somebody to help. How are you doing? Somebody about you lift you up. But at the Chinese church that's persecuted, the more people that are there, guess what happens? The easier it is to spot, and the easier it is to go execute everybody who's involved in it. The more that show up, so it's under extreme persecution, but yet they still continue to meet every day. They still continue to come together. They still come to meet, and and it even says this in the temple courts. They still continue to meet in the temple courts. They came together. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts. Right now, we're going, nobody's coming over to my house. They might have coronavirus. I'm not talking about my house. My house is pretty much open. You know, we weren't even here on Monday. They still did worship practice at our house. We're like, yeah, go ahead. You know. But that's where we've gotten to. Every day they continue to meet. See, what happens is, like today, so I'm about to make one of those controversial statements. It's going to get some people mad at me, because that's just how this works. See, what happened is today, how many people skipped church and stayed at home and was like, I'm just going to stay at home and be protective? And then the other line is how many people skipped church today and went out and did something? How many people, they were like, oh, I'm afraid of the coronavirus. I'm not going to church today, but I got to go to Walmart. I got to go to this place. I got to go to that place. See, there's a thing that we go, if I can find an excuse to miss church, then I'm going to miss it. And it just says that our faith is not bigger than our fear. That our faith is actually, now I understand, if you're at home watching, hey, more power to you. I'm grateful that you're here. If you're watching this 3 days later because you went to Walmart at 10 o'clock this morning, probably stop meeting, we got to stop doing this. But as for me, I believe this is a place for refuge. This is where we're supposed to come together. This is where we're supposed to, if you're sick, please stay home. Please. But you know when you're sick. You know You're a grown adult. You know when you don't feel good. You know what's going on. You know, attend church online then. But if you're healthy, don't use this as an excuse to be like, hey, I'm going to sit and play online for a couple hours. I'm going to go play some more video games. Because both of those things are very juvenile things. Scripture tells us that when we're brand new Christians, we drink milk, but only for a time. And at some time, we have to move to solid food. It's just like people. We drink milk as babies. And if we're the person that's sitting there going, and again, I'm not trying to beat up on you, maybe a little bit, but are we still lapping up the milk, or have we said it's time for me to start moving into more of that meat and diving into Scripture and spending time around it, because we're allowing this God and trying to do, and we've allowed the fear to overcome our faith. Wherever you're watching at, I'll just be honest with you. With us, with other people, don't stop worshiping. Don't stop worshiping. There's a lot of people that are looking for hope, and at some point they come out and they make an executive order. It's 50, 100, 250 people. Then we'll be the most evangelistic. We'll make it where people come together, and we'll figure that portion out. In Acts 2:46, and it says they continue to meet. It says the Lord added verse 40 daily to those who are being saved. So by us running, cowering down, and by us going, I'm going to allow this to take over, literally hindering the Spirit moving in other people. We're hindering the Spirit moving. Because God doesn't get to see how we work through God does amazing things when we don't see hope. When we don't see anything, God does amazing things, because that's when God comes. And I just wanted to show you. I've been here. But he does it a lot of time through his people. When we come together, a lot of times get sick here. It's going to happen, right? Somebody's going to get sick. How do we respond? I'm going to tell you right now is that an email is going to go out this evening that's going to tell you our response is going to be, if you need to go to doctor's appointments, the Edge is going to take you. If you need medications picked up, the Edge is going to pick it up for you. If you need somebody to go to the store for you, we're going to do that. We will come around our church family while nobody else is there. When nobody else is, if you get sick, we will be there. We will love. Yeah, you got to let us know. Don't be like, I'm sick, Mike, and then it never said a single word. If you don't do that. But if you're sick, let us know. And we will be there to support you through it. We'll be there to help you get through all of it, whatever it is. And we're not afraid of dropping something off at the door, and we're not afraid of coming in and giving a hug. I asked you what you're comfortable with. When you walked in here today, I asked you, are you comfortable? What are you comfortable with? Because I know what Jesus did. I know where Jesus went down, and guess where he spent all of his time? Was with those that were sick, those that were hurting, those that nobody else wanted to be around, those that were broken or that people perceived as being broken. You know, and so where are we spending our time at? We tend to pick our palaces, and that's where we stay at. I'm going to be in my palace. We live by faith, not by fear. We are sacrificial. Why are we doing that with our faith? Why are we doing that right now? That's what we're doing. We're going, you know what? I'm not going to live out loud. I'm not going to live strong. I'm not going to go out. Nope. I'll be on fire for Jesus in my closet. That's what we've done. That's what we've turned it into. Instead, they put it on a stand. and it gives light to everyone in need. It's what it says. They put it on a stand, and it gives light to those around them. Your light is supposed to help others. That's what the scripture is telling us right here. Your light, the light that's coming off of you, you're supposed to be a beacon. It's supposed to help others. Not to go in there and just go, I'm going to a coward, I'm going to go hide. No, it's supposed to be a beacon to those around. I'm praying for people to step into this and go, it's our job to go out and reach people. During this time when we're struggling, when people are going, I'm anxious, I'm afraid, it's our job to step in and go, well, Jesus has been here for that. He is the great comforter. He is the one who says that, come to me, all of you that are worried, and I will cast your burdens onto me. Well, what are we doing? If we're the ones that are hiding and going, nope, I'm not going to come out and I'm not going to do this. And I'm not saying that you should just go put yourself at risk everywhere. So we know who's at risk. We know. We know that those that are, so do not grieve or panic like those who have no hope. You know, if you go into, and if you do a little research and you look up Bible verses in the New Testament that feature the word not, right? There's just a few of them out there. And so it says, angel at the birth of Jesus, do not be afraid. That's what it says. I bring you good news and great joy. Jesus saying why he came. I did not come for the healthy, the sick. Not for the righteous, but for the sinners. We right now are afraid, and they have nothing but the spirit of fear that's casting them down, and it's making it to where have you seen? They were talking about just recently on the news that anti-anxiety pills, medications are at an all-time high right now. They have skyrocketed. Why? Because people have the spirit of fear. They're just afraid. They just go, you know, see, and here's the thing, is that, and I want to be very clear here, we are saved by grace, not by works. So just because I'm saying all this stuff and that we're supposed to be the light of the world and we're supposed to be a beacon, we will not be overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. We do not belong to those who shrink back and who are destroyed, but to those who have faith and are saved. The Lord is not slow in keeping his promise. We will not grieve like the rest of mankind who have no hope. We will not give up meeting together. The Lord is our helper, and we will not be afraid. How many knots are there that we continue to go, I'm going to be afraid? Not afraid. That's the mindset we need to go out. As this last week, as we were traveling, I said, the news keeps getting more and more. It's here, it's getting more and more catastrophic. We walked around as if nothing was wrong. Did I not stop and hit the hand sanitizer every time I saw one? I was like, oh, hey, there's just some more. That's just because I like it. It's not because I'm afraid of getting coronavirus. To diminish this, I'm going to hide this. That means that we're not living in that truth. That means we're hiding and running from it. Like the first century believers in the book of Acts, we cannot stop talking about Jesus. And that's what this is causing us to do. You have churches that have stopped talking about Jesus. There's a Lutheran church in San Francisco. The last time they closed their doors was in 1933. They've met every Sunday since. They closed their doors again today. They're not live streaming. They're not equipped for that. They don't have that ability. They don't have the will of God. That's a big question for us. That's where we need to be at. So I'm going to give you the three fill in the blanks here again. We live by fear. Or we live by faith, not fear. So we'll edit that out. But we live by faith, not by fear. We are sacrificial, not selfish. We shine the light and we do not hide it. 2 Corinthians 4, 7-9, it says, but we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down. We're going to do something that is going to be miraculous. That this virus that we see is nothing compared to the contagious hope that you offer, and that how we're going to see people come to believe and come to know who you are. Because those that have stepped up and said, I am not afraid. I'm going to do the work that you've asked me to do. I'm going to step out and be the beacon and be the light that you've asked me to be. That we've continued to preach the gospel. That we've continued to give love and be uplifting. That we've continued to worship, to praise. Give us the strength to do your will. Give us the strength to love how you would love. Give us your eyes to see. And allow us to truly be the hands and feet that you've asked us to be. Allow us to be your ambassadors and to love like nobody else is loving. Father, thank you. It's in your Son, Jesus' name, that we pray.